There is a moment, and maybe you've had this moment too, where you look at your life, your energy levels, the way you feel when you wake up in the morning, and you think something has to change. Maybe you're tired more than you should be. Maybe your joints ache a little more than they used to. Maybe your skin doesn't glow the way it once did, or your digestion feels sluggish, or you just feel like your body is running at 60% when it should be at 100. And you've tried things, you've read the labels, bought the supplements, followed the trends, but something is still missing. Today, I want to tell you about something that has been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years. Something that ancient healers in India, Africa, and Southeast Asia have known about for centuries, but that modern science is only now beginning to fully understand and validate. I'm talking about Moringa, the tree that has quietly earned the name the miracle tree, the tree of life, and in many cultures, simply the mother's best friend. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly why this extraordinary plant might be the missing piece in your health journey. But before I go any further, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want you to answer this in the comments below. What is the one area of your health that you feel most frustrated about right now? Is it your energy, your weight, your skin, your sleep, your digestion? Drop it down below because by the end of this video, I have a feeling you're going to be surprised by how many of those answers point back to the same root cause and how moringa might just be the answer you've been searching for. Now, let me set the stage for you. I want you to imagine a tree. It grows in tropical and subtropical regions, places like India, Nigeria, Ethiopia, the Philippines, and Pakistan. It's not a towering, dramatic tree. It's slender, almost delicate looking, with small oval leaves that cluster together like little green pearls on feathery branches. The pods are long and thin. The flowers are white and fragrant. On the surface, it looks like any other tree you might see growing along a roadside in a warm country. But inside those small green leaves is something nothing short of extraordinary. Moringa oleifera, that's its full scientific name, contains a concentration of nutrients that is almost without parallel in the plant kingdom. Gram for gram, the dried leaves of moringa contain more vitamin C than oranges, more calcium than milk, more iron than spinach, more vitamin A than carrots, and more potassium than bananas. Now, I know you've probably heard health claims like that before and rolled your eyes. So have I. But what makes Moringa different is that these aren't marketing slogans. These are peer reviewed findings published in respected scientific journals. This is not hype. This is botany, biochemistry, and centuries of real world human experience converging into one extraordinary green leaf. And today, I want to break all of this down for you in a way that's clear, honest, and genuinely useful. Because it's not enough to know that something is good for you. You deserve to understand why it's good for you, how it actually works inside your body, and most importantly, how to use it in a way that makes a real difference in your day to day life. So let's start at the very beginning. Let's start with what Moringa actually is, where it comes from, and why humanity has turned to it for so long. Moringa oleifera belongs to the Moringaceae family and is native to the foothills of the Himalayas in northwestern India, but it has spread across the tropics over thousands of years, carried by trade routes, colonial movements, and the simple human desire to bring good medicine wherever people go. In Ayurvedic medicine, one of the world's oldest formal medical systems, dating back over 3,000 years, Moringa was used to treat more than 300 diseases. 300. That number sounds almost impossible, but when you understand the sheer diversity of nutrients and bioactive compounds packed into this plant, it starts to make sense. The ancient Sanskrit texts called it shigru and described it as capable of curing diseases of the liver, blood, heart, and joints. African traditional healers used moringa leaves to treat malnutrition in children and nursing mothers. In the Philippines, it is called malunggay and is considered one of the country's most important vegetables, stirred into soups, fed to pregnant women, and given to babies as one of their first solid foods. In West Africa, mothers have been feeding moringa to their children for generations, intuitively knowing what science has now confirmed. This plant saves lives. And in a very real, very documented sense, it has. Organizations like the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and various NGOs have used moringa to combat malnutrition in developing countries, precisely because it is cheap to grow, easy to cultivate, and packed with the exact nutrients that malnourished communities are often deficient in. When you have a plant that can be grown in a drought prone environment that requires minimal water and no pesticides, that grows back quickly after being cut, and that delivers a complete nutritional profile. You have something that is not just a health food. You have something that is genuinely life changing. But I'm not just here to talk about history and geography. I'm here to talk about you, your body, and what moringa can actually do inside of you when you make it a consistent part of your life. So let's get into it. Let's talk about nutrition first, because this is the foundation of everything. Your body is essentially a machine, an incredibly sophisticated, self repairing, self regulating machine. And like any machine, it needs the right fuel to function properly. Most people in the modern world are walking around in a state of what I call hidden malnutrition. They're eating enough calories. They're not starving, but they're deeply deficient in the micronutrients, the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients that their bodies need to truly thrive. And this hidden malnutrition shows up as fatigue, brain fog, weak immunity, poor skin, slow healing, mood imbalances, and a dozen other symptoms that we've started to normalize when they are, in fact, completely unnecessary. Moringa is, in many ways, a direct antidote to hidden malnutrition. When you look at its nutritional profile in full detail, it is staggering. Fresh moringa leaves contain significant amounts of vitamin A in the form of beta carotene, which is essential for eye health, immune function, and skin cell regeneration. They contain vitamin C, which most people know as an immune booster, but which is also critical for collagen production, wound healing, and iron absorption. They contain B vitamins, including B1, B2, B3, and B6, all of which play central roles in energy metabolism, meaning they are literally involved in the process by which your body converts food into usable energy. They contain calcium, which is important not just for bones and teeth, but also for muscle function, nerve signaling, and heart rhythm. They contain iron, which carries oxygen in the blood and without which you feel exhausted, pale, and mentally foggy. They contain magnesium, which is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body and which most people are chronically deficient in. They contain zinc, which supports immune function, skin health, wound healing, and reproductive health. They contain potassium, essential for blood pressure regulation and muscle function. And they contain phosphorus, important for kidney function and bone health. And that's just the vitamins and minerals. The story gets even more interesting when we talk about the bioactive plant compounds, the ones that give moringa its true medicinal power. Moringa leaves are rich in a class of compounds called polyphenols, which are powerful antioxidants. Antioxidants are something I know gets talked about a lot, but I want to take a moment to explain what they actually do, because it really matters. Inside your body, normal metabolic processes, as well as exposure to things like pollution, stress, processed food, and UV radiation, produce something called free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules that damage cells, proteins, and DNA. This cellular damage is one of the primary drivers of aging, inflammation, chronic disease, and even cancer. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals. They essentially sacrifice themselves to protect your cells from this ongoing damage. Moringa contains several specific polyphenols that have been studied extensively. One of the most important is quercetin, which has been shown in research to help lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation, and potentially inhibit the growth of certain types of cancer cells. Another is chlorogenic acid, which you may recognize from coffee. It helps regulate blood sugar levels after meals by slowing the absorption of glucose in the gut. And then there's camphorol, another flavonoid with powerful anti inflammatory and antioxidant effects that has been studied for its potential role in protecting heart health and supporting hormonal balance. There's also a unique class of compounds in moringa called isothiocyanates, and these are genuinely exciting from a medical standpoint. Isothiocyanates are sulfur containing compounds also found in broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables, and they have been shown to have anti inflammatory, antimicrobial, and potentially anti cancer properties. The specific isothiocyanates in moringa, particularly one called moringin, appear to have particularly strong biological activity. Now, let's translate all of this chemistry into real life. What does this actually mean for you? What can you actually expect when you start incorporating moringa into your daily routine? Let me walk you through the key areas where the research and the lived experience of millions of people points to genuine, meaningful benefits. The first is energy. This is the one I hear about most often, and it's one of the most consistent things people report after starting moringa. Within a few weeks of regular use, many people describe feeling a noticeable improvement in their baseline energy. Not the jittery, artificial energy of a caffeine hit, but a steadier, cleaner, more sustained energy that carries them through the day. There's a good reason for this. If you're deficient in iron, for example, your red blood cells can't carry oxygen efficiently, and you feel fatigued. Moringa's iron content, combined with its vitamin C, which dramatically enhances iron absorption, directly addresses this. The B vitamins support the mitochondria, the energy producing organelles in your cells, to function more efficiently. And the overall reduction in inflammation that moringa supports allows your body to function without the energy drain that chronic low grade inflammation creates. The second area is blood sugar regulation. This is one of the most scientifically well supported benefits of moringa, and it is critically important in a world where type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance are at epidemic levels. Multiple human and animal studies have shown that moringa leaf powder can significantly reduce fasting blood sugar levels and improve the body's response to insulin. The chlorogenic acid I mentioned earlier plays a role here, as do the isothiocyanates. One study published in the International Journal of Food Science Technology found that adding moringa leaf powder to meals reduced postprandial blood sugar spikes, meaning it blunted the sharp rise in blood sugar that happens after eating. For anyone who is pre-diabetic, diabetic, or simply wants to protect their long-term metabolic health, this is significant. I want to be clear here because this is important. Moringa is not a replacement for diabetes medication if you've been prescribed it. Please do not stop any prescribed medication without consulting your doctor, but as a complementary addition to a healthy lifestyle and under your doctor's guidance, Moringa's blood sugar benefits are real and meaningful. The third area is inflammation, and I think this might be the most important one of all, because inflammation is at the root of almost every major chronic disease we face today: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, certain cancers, autoimmune conditions. All of them involve chronic inflammation as a central mechanism. And the modern lifestyle is profoundly pro inflammatory. Processed foods, chronic stress, sedentary behavior, poor sleep, environmental toxins, all of these drive inflammation in your body, and that inflammation slowly, silently damages your organs and accelerates aging. Moringa's anti-inflammatory compounds, particularly the isothiocyanates, quercetin, and other polyphenols, have been shown in laboratory and animal studies to inhibit key inflammatory pathways, including the NFKB pathway, which is one of the master switches of inflammation in the body. A study published in the journal Phytotherapy Research showed that moringa extract significantly reduced markers of inflammation in animal models. Human studies are still limited and more research is needed, but the mechanistic evidence is compelling, and the traditional use of moringa as an anti inflammatory remedy across many cultures strongly suggests real world efficacy. For people dealing with arthritis, joint pain, chronic headaches, autoimmune flares, or just that general feeling of bodily heaviness and discomfort that comes with modern living, moringa's anti inflammatory properties are worth exploring under appropriate guidance. The fourth area is cholesterol and heart health. High LDL cholesterol, the so called bad cholesterol, is a major risk factor for heart disease, which remains the number one killer globally. Several studies, including a well cited one published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, have shown that moringa leaf extract can significantly lower total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides, while either maintaining or raising HDL, the good cholesterol. The mechanism appears to involve moringa's ability to inhibit cholesterol synthesis in the liver and enhance its excretion. This makes moringa a genuinely interesting option for people looking to support cardiovascular health through natural dietary means. The fifth area is the liver. Your liver is one of the hardest working organs in your body. It processes everything you eat and drink, filters toxins from your blood, metabolizes hormones, produces bile for fat digestion, and performs hundreds of other functions. In our modern world, the liver is under constant stress from processed food, alcohol, environmental chemicals, medications, and high fructose intake. Research has shown that moringa has hepatoprotective properties, meaning it helps protect the liver from damage. Studies in animals have shown that moringa extract can reduce liver fibrosis, lower liver enzymes that indicate damage, and protect liver cells from toxic insults. For people who drink alcohol occasionally, take regular medications, or simply live in a polluted environment, this liver protective effect is something to take seriously. The sixth area, and one that particularly resonates with a lot of people, is skin and hair health. And this makes complete sense when you understand moringa's nutritional profile. Vitamin A supports skin cell turnover and prevents the buildup of dead skin cells that leads to dullness and clogged pores. Vitamin C drives collagen synthesis, and collagen is literally the structural protein that keeps your skin firm, plump, and youthful. Zinc helps regulate oil production in the skin and has anti inflammatory effects that are particularly relevant for people with acne. The antioxidants in moringa protect skin cells from oxidative damage caused by UV radiation and pollution, two of the primary external drivers of premature aging. And the amino acids in moringa support keratin production, which is the protein that makes up both your hair and your nails. Many people who use moringa regularly report improvements in skin clarity, reduced breakouts, a healthy glow, and stronger, faster growing hair. While not everyone experiences the same results and skin health is affected by many factors, the nutritional basis for these benefits is solid. The seventh area I want to talk about is brain health and mood. This is one of the more exciting and emerging areas of moringa research. The brain is extraordinarily sensitive to nutritional deficiencies. Iron deficiency impairs cognitive function and concentration. Magnesium deficiency is linked to anxiety and depression. Vitamin B6 is essential for the production of serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters that regulate mood, motivation, and feelings of well being. Moringa contains all of these, along with antioxidants that protect brain cells from oxidative damage. Animal studies have shown that moringa extract has neuroprotective effects. It appears to protect neurons from damage and death. Some studies have shown improvements in memory and learning in animal models treated with moringa. And there is early evidence suggesting that moringa may help regulate cortisol, the stress hormone, though more human research is needed here. What I can say is this: the nutritional support that moringa provides to the brain is comprehensive and meaningful. Many people who start using moringa describe feeling mentally clearer, less anxious, and more emotionally balanced. And while individual results vary, the scientific rationale for these experiences is real. The eighth area is immune function. Your immune system is your body's defense network, a complex, highly coordinated army of cells and proteins that identify and eliminate threats ranging from bacteria and viruses to rogue cancer cells. And like any army, it needs proper resourcing to function well. Vitamin A is critical for maintaining the integrity of the mucous membranes, the first line of defense against respiratory and digestive pathogens. Vitamin C directly stimulates the production and activity of immune cells. Zinc is essential for the development of immune cells and for mounting an effective immune response. Iron plays a role in the proliferation of immune cells, and the antioxidants in moringa reduce the oxidative stress that can suppress immune function. In practical terms, people who use moringa regularly often report getting sick less often and recovering more quickly when they do get ill. This is consistent with what the nutritional science would predict. Now, let's talk about something equally important: how to actually use moringa. Because having the best superfood in the world in your pantry doesn't help you if you don't know how to incorporate it into your life in a way that's practical, consistent, and enjoyable. Moringa comes in several forms, each with its own advantages. The most widely available and commonly used form is dried leaf powder. This is made by harvesting fresh moringa leaves, drying them at low temperatures to preserve the nutrients, and then grinding them into a fine green powder. This powder can be stirred into water, blended into smoothies, mixed into yogurt, added to soups or stews, or incorporated into baked goods. It has a mild, slightly earthy, grassy taste. Some people love it immediately, others take a little time to adjust. I find that blending it into a fruit smoothie is one of the easiest ways to get it in daily without even tasting it. The second form is capsules or tablets, which are simply moringa powder packed into a supplement form. This is ideal for people who prefer a simple, consistent, no fuss approach. The convenience of swallowing a capsule or two with water in the morning means there are fewer barriers to making it a daily habit. The third form is moringa tea, made from dried moringa leaves steeped in hot water. This is a gentler way to consume moringa and is particularly suitable for people with sensitive digestion. The tea has a mild, pleasant flavor and is a lovely ritual to add to your morning or evening routine. And then there is fresh moringa, the actual leaves fresh from the tree. If you live in a tropical region where moringa grows, or if you're fortunate enough to have a moringa tree in your garden, fresh leaves can be eaten directly, added to salads, blended into sauces, or cooked lightly into dishes. Fresh leaves have a slightly different nutritional profile than the dried powder. Some heat sensitive vitamins are partially degraded by cooking, but many of the minerals and stable compounds remain. In many Asian and African cuisines, moringa leaves are simply added to soups and curries the way we might add spinach or kale. In terms of dosage, and I want to be thoughtful here because I want to give you useful guidance, most research and traditional use suggests starting with about half a teaspoon of moringa powder per day and gradually increasing to 1 to 2 teaspoons per day as your body adjusts. In supplement form, following the manufacturer's recommended dose is generally appropriate, and many quality supplements provide around 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of moringa leaf powder per serving. There are a few important precautions I want to make sure you're aware of because I believe in giving you complete information, not just the exciting parts. First, moringa has historically been used to stimulate uterine contractions, which means it is generally not recommended during pregnancy. If you are pregnant, please consult your doctor before using moringa. Breastfeeding mothers, on the other hand, have used moringa for generations to support milk production, and some research supports this use. But again, discussing it with your healthcare provider is always the right move. Second, because moringa can lower blood sugar and blood pressure, people who are already taking medication for either of these conditions need to be cautious, as the combination could potentially lead to levels that are too low. This is not a reason to avoid moringa. It's a reason to work with your doctor and monitor your levels if you're on these medications. Third, moringa's roots, bark, and seeds contain higher concentrations of certain compounds that can be toxic in large doses. The leaves and pods, which are the parts most commonly consumed as food and supplements, are very safe and well tolerated for most people. When you are buying moringa supplements or powder, make sure you are getting products made specifically from the leaves. Fourth, as with any new supplement, starting slowly and observing how your body responds is wise. Some people experience mild digestive adjustment, loose stools, or bloating when they first begin using moringa. This usually resolves within a few days as the body adapts. Starting with a smaller amount and gradually increasing helps minimize this. And now I want to tell you something that I think is perhaps the most important thing in this entire video. Moringa is not magic. No single food is. What moringa represents is an extraordinarily dense concentration of the exact nutrients and bioactive compounds that your body needs to function at its best, many of which the modern diet is chronically short on. When you fill those nutritional gaps, your body responds. It has no choice but to respond because that's how biology works. You give it what it needs, and it does what it was designed to do: heal, regenerate, protect, and thrive. But Moringa works best as part of a broader commitment to your health, a commitment that includes eating a diet rich in whole, minimally processed foods. That includes moving your body regularly in ways you enjoy. That includes prioritizing sleep because nothing undermines health quite like chronic sleep deprivation. That includes managing stress, nurturing your relationships, and spending time in nature. Moringa can be a powerful addition to that foundation, but it's not a substitute for it. I also want to say this, and I say it because I genuinely care about your well being. Please don't spend money you don't have chasing every supplement that promises a miracle. The research on Moringa is genuinely promising, but the bedrock of good health has always been and will always be consistent good habits practiced over time. Moringa can support those habits, it can accelerate your progress, it can fill nutritional gaps that are holding you back. But it works best when it is part of a lifestyle, not a shortcut around one. I've seen people transform their health with changes that seemed almost too simple: getting to bed 30 minutes earlier, drinking more water, eating vegetables at every meal, walking for 20 minutes a day, adding a teaspoon of moringa to their morning smoothie. These things seem small, but compounded over weeks and months, they produce results that feel nothing short of miraculous. And that really is the alchemy of moringa. Not the magical transformation of lead into gold, but the quiet, steady, compound miracle of giving your body the tools it needs day after day until you look back and realize you feel fundamentally, unmistakably different: more alive, more energetic, more clear headed, more resilient, more like yourself. This tree, this slender, modest, extraordinary tree, has been doing this for human beings for thousands of years. Long before clinical trials and peer reviewed journals, mothers knew to feed it to their children, healers knew to prescribe it to their patients, communities knew to plant it near their homes. And now, science is catching up, validating what wisdom always knew. You now have that knowledge too. And knowledge combined with consistent action is the most powerful health tool there is. So here is what I want you to do right now, if any part of this resonated with you. First, drop a comment below and tell me, which benefit of Moringa surprised you most, and what health goal are you most excited to work toward? I read every single comment and I genuinely love hearing from you. Second, if you have a doctor, a naturopath, or any other healthcare provider that you trust, bring this to them. Show them the research, ask questions, advocate for yourself. You deserve personalized guidance, and a good healthcare provider will welcome the conversation. Third, if you decide to try Moringa, give it real time. Nutritional changes work at the pace of biology, not the pace of instant gratification. Most people start to notice meaningful changes within 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use. Be patient with yourself and with the process. And finally, please share this video with someone you care about, because if even one person watches this and it moves them to make a change that improves their health, that is profoundly worth it. Health information that is honest, evidence based, and genuinely helpful should travel as far as it can. Help me make sure it does. Thank you, truly, genuinely thank you for spending this time with me today. Taking time to learn about your health, to invest in understanding what your body needs and why, that is not a small thing. It is an act of self respect and self love. And you deserve every bit of the vitality and well being that comes from that investment. I'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself. And remember, your health is not a destination, it's a practice, one beautiful, imperfect, worthwhile day at a time.